I know I don't like binging, but we're doing this. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episodes 8 through 10 of To Be Hero X. This is the entirety of the next arc. All three episodes we are doing together, and the reason for this is because I want to get to something else. So, I had already talked about last time how after this next arc we were going to take a break. I just felt like it was the right time, and I felt like this is the kind of series taking a break from I think would benefit for it. Because of how it's organized into these little mini arcs, I think it would work. And so I was not planning on doing this all at once. I was definitely not planning on doing this all at once. But then we had a first impression that I wanted to continue right away, and I just had no other way of doing it that would really be satisfying and work out. We did the first impression video for Turkey Time to Strike. And it's like, I need to see where this goes. This first episode was so good and it was so surprising. And I need to see where this goes. I don't want to wait. But with all the other shows that we just recently started and everything, there's like really no room to put it. And then I'm like, okay, I'll think about it and come back to you. And then we ended up doing another first impression later in the week to Panty and Stocking, new Panty and Stocking. And it's like, but I also said that we were going to get to this, like, right away. But that was also before I knew the dub was already out and it had recast everyone. But I did the first impression to see if it was still something worth checking out. And it's like, okay, but I feel like I should, if I'm going to continue giving this a go, I should do what I said I was going to do before and get to it right away. So I decided to put new Panty and Stocking on Thursdays, adding it to our Thursday slot alongside City the Animation. And then I'm like, okay, then that means we're definitely going to have Turkey Time to Strike on Mondays. And then it's like, but the best way to do this, I think, because I really don't want to wait like 3 weeks or so, is we're just going to finish off this next arc. We're going to go through it all at once. 3 episodes in a row. And like I said in the cold open, I don't like binging stuff. I think it hurts the overall enjoyment of a series, or in this case, an arc of a series. And I think that it can very much affect how much that portion of the series or the series as a whole can stick with you. I'm actually a very strong proponent against binging shows. I think you should watch them at a slower pace. Here's an example for you. I've still only seen the first 2 episodes of Squid Game Season 3. I've still only seen the first 2 episodes. And it's been out for quite a while now. Quite a bit of time. Like, what, a couple weeks? And I've still only seen the first 2 episodes. There's 6 in total, I believe. Because I'm pacing it out. I don't want to rush through this. It's something that I feel would really, really not work if I rush through it like that. So, yeah, I'm taking it slowly. And unfortunately, we're not able to do that. I really hope that this next arc, these 3 episodes, at least is still good and entertaining. And I hope can possibly stick with me, but I'm not going to say for sure. I can't say for sure. And I want to say, I will say, like, right off the bat, that the second arc, the Easel arc, was nowhere near as good as the Nice arc for me. Like, really thinking about that over this past week, it's like, the Nice arc was, like, so investing. I was so into it. And the Easel arc, it's just like, it was okay. It's like, if, I'm not saying it is, but if the Nice arc were a 10 out of 10, then just by comparison, I would probably put the Easel arc at like maybe a 6.5. It's like, that's how far apart I think they are in terms of quality. I'm not saying that that is the exact number I would give to either of them, but that's just like an example, to like maybe even a bit of an exaggerated example, just to get to show you like how far different I think they are in quality. Um and that's not to say that I think that every arc is going to be like not as good as the first, but it's like, when you're constantly changing the character, your main characters, and the focus of the story, it's like, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be hard to get into each new one as it arrives. Because it's not like it's an anthology where each episode is its own thing. You have multiple episodes where you're getting invested in these characters, and then their story just ends. It just feels like it's messing with you, you know? And I know that they're all going to come back into play. I know it's all going to like come to a head in the end, but still. It just feels like you're kind of getting like teased. And it's not actually letting you stick with the characters you're learning to care about. But also on top of that, I think the Easel arc was also super rushed and just needed more episodes to really feel like it made sense. It feels like our main characters kind of change at the end. His like emotional and his emotional and character change felt very rushed. It felt like it like not came out of nowhere, because we know why it happened, but it didn't feel like it was built up enough, or like it like had a realistic progression between the two sides of him. So I just feel like they needed at least one more episode to flesh out that change between him being, super heroic and kind and kind of shy, to being kind of this like serious asshole with a chip on his shoulder and everything. It's like, it just feels like he changed way too quick. But that's just me, maybe. Let's check out these next episodes and see if they're any better and what they have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I had to go back and watch that ending again, as well as look something up, because I wasn't 100% certain. So there's two parts to that ending I want to talk about kind of before anything else. One, I had to go back and rewatch the ending because I wasn't 100% sure, and I wanted to make sure. But it seems to be the case. The reporter, Jen, I think was his name, orchestrated everything alongside the head of the hero organization. It's Easel all over again. And when I realized that, like when I went back and like checked it to make sure, it's like, this is definitely going to be a recurring thing throughout this series, where the heads of these hero organizations are like orchestrating all of this fucked up bullshit to make people into heroes, specifically to, make them money and get their own trust up and stuff. And I don't know exactly where it's going to lead. I don't know if it's going to lead to all of these organizations being brought down. Queen was talking earlier in the episode, because her father is Jen, and she was talking earlier in the episode about wanting to kind of like break down the system a bit. So I wonder if she's going to help with that. Hopefully. Because that actually like really like bothered me when I went back and watched that again. Because it's like, cause I think because of everything that had happened, and I think because of especially that kind of relief after realizing that nothing was going to happen to Luo in the end, he wasn't going to get murked like Moon did. I think that like it made me kind of like zone out for a split second there, and that's why I kind of missed that, why I had to go back and check it again. But it's like that just irritated me so much, because it's like this arc got me so fucking invested in Cyan so fucking quickly. I've talked about this on plenty of videos, and a surprising amount of videos lately specifically. But I tend to get very protective towards child characters. And when bad stuff happens to child characters, whether they're being abused or exploited, like in this, or whatever else, I tend to get like a lot more fiercely angry than I do like seeing, I don't know, like a 18-year-old or something go through the same. And don't get me wrong, I still get upset with that, but when it's a kid, it just for some reason gives me like a lot, it just like almost lights a fire in me, I guess is a way to put it. And I've referred to it in a couple other videos at this point as like my mama bear instincts coming out, as a sort of like, because of my desire to one day be a mom and everything, it's been one of those things to where it's like I just have this almost protective desire, this desire to protect kids and desire to keep them safe. And even when it comes to like fiction, like animation like this, it's like I anytime I see like a child character, it's like I just get so protective over them. There's random exceptions here and there, like when the child character is like psychotic or something, or just kind of like an absolute like dick bag, but usually that's the parents' fault. That's not so much the kids' fault, because the kids are, raised to be like that. So I even then I still blame the parents more than the kid. But it's like a situation like this just admittedly kind of fucks me up a bit. And going through these episodes, seeing how Cyan is like, exploited and everything by this orphanage, and how they become like this almost religious cult surrounding her. And then she goes out and she manages to finally fucking escape it. And then like the hero agency that, offers her a chance at like following her dream of being a hero, the dream she had like kind of gotten into because of her and Luo's relationship. They start exploiting her and everything, and just shit keeps going wrong, and it's just like, it's just bothering me. And then so you find out at the end that it's like that it was all orchestrated by Zhen and the CEO of this organization, this hero group. And you basically realize that her entire life has been orchestrated and manipulated and exploited from the get-go. The black box basically fucking revealed that someone fucked with their plane, probably a hero. Which means that one of the hero organizations sent someone to specifically take down this plane. They were literally orchestrating everything Zhen was working with the hero organization to do this. They sent someone to take down this plane in hopes of literally what happened, in hopes of that happening, that they would place their like trust and faith in someone on the plane. That person would survive, and they could build that person into a hero. They didn't, I assume, necessarily specifically think of luck. Unless they had an insider on the plane, which would also be fucked for a number of reasons. But they more likely just thought, like, okay, we're gonna like try to manipulate it so that someone would gain the trust value there and survive. And it's like whoever it ended up being, we would like lead into this hero life. And that's why Zhen brought her to this specific orphanage, because he knew what this guy was like. They have history. He knew that this kind of shit would happen. He knew that that Cyan would be, you know, exploited there. That's why he brought her there. Her entire life was a fucking experiment. And it genuinely pisses me the fuck off. Because again, I got so fucking invested in this girl. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This is my favorite arc. Which is surprising because I binged through it. I mentioned in the pre-thoughts that it's like my hatred towards binging, my dislike towards binging, is partially fueled by the fact that you don't have time to really think through things, don't have time to really like process your thoughts enough, and you're just rushing through the story. And I will still admit that this absolutely would have worked even better if I had done these like a week apart. This absolutely, like 100% would have been even better. But this is one of those rare cases where even though I did marathon, even though I did binge through these 3 episodes for this arc, it was still so captivating, so enrapturing, so investing, that I still like got super fucking into it. Like, let me put it into this kind of perspective. The nice arc, the first arc, I have watched multiple reactions to and everything. I have watched like no reactions to the Isol arc because I just don't really care to see it again. I'm just not that really interested in it. I am like very easily going to be watching a lot of reactions to this one, as many as I could probably find. Well, maybe not that many, but it's going to depend on other stuff as well, and my schedule and everything, but you know. I'm definitely going to be watching probably more on this one than the others. I know it's recency bias as well, but I do genuinely think this is my favorite of the 3 arcs so far. And the next one is absolutely focusing on Queen, right? Because each of these arcs have now, like, very clearly, very explicitly hinted at what the next arc was going to be. With the first arc, the ending with Moon being killed by Isol, the second arc ended up being about Isol. The second arc, we focus on Isol throughout the entire thing, but him and his potential girlfriend both are fans of Lucky Cyan, more her than him, and he wanted to go to the concert with her originally. She actually ended up wanting him to go with her, but they weren't able to. She ended up going alone and leaving after, like, she was just too upset by it all. But we get to see a bit of the concert with Lucky Cyan, and now this arc ended up being about Lucky Cyan. And so in this one, we get to see multiple points with Queen in it. We get to see her with her father and wanting to be a hero from that. We get to see her as a hero after the fact and her helping Cyan out. The next arc is, like, I am entirely convinced it's going to be about Queen. And I actually like that they're doing it this way. That each arc is hinting at what the next one's going to be. But, and I have purposefully avoided talking about this part until now, there was one more thing I had to look up after I finished the reaction, because I also was not quite sure. At the end, when Zhang and the CEO are talking to each other, and they're like, we're not the only ones looking into fear. And then it shows the guy go into that building, and I'm like, that's the place. That's where they were in the Easel thing, right? That's Shang Chao's. He bought that place and everything so they could use it as their base of operations and all. I made sure to look it up because I had to be sure it was. And the guy that came in there was Shang Chao's dad. And it's like I thought I recognized him, but I was not sure. I was not confident. I didn't want to say anything. It was him though. So most of this story, maybe until like the end, takes place before the events of Easel, clearly because and I'll get into this more in a moment, but it gives us the origin of like the knowledge of fear and everything. But that ending part might take place like, well, I mean, obviously with the dad going there, that part takes place after. But I'm thinking like the last portion of it, the most modern portion of it, because it goes obviously through different time periods, different years and everything. The last portion of it might have been like just after the events of what happened with Easel. And it said, I think it was like 2 years, I think it said, after she had left, after the last time she had saw Luo. So that kind of, I guess, maybe gives us a time frame. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out this time frame with everything, but it's like I'm not 100% sure. So um but yeah, going back into the fear thing though. So fear is something we've known about obviously since the first arc. It's been talked about as like this force that's antithetical to the trust value that, the heroes are given. And now we actually get to see where these organizations and the people in general first started learning about it. That actually surprised me. Like I did peg that was fear. I did notice that was what that was supposed to be. I did call that. I'm proud of myself for that. But what I was not like really expecting or understanding was that was actually the first time that people were seeing that. That's actually a new experience for the public and for these hero organizations. That's fascinating to me. Because we see that this fear is obviously brought about by the information that's revealed about Lucky Cyan, and it starts with the orphanage and all those people like, basically having breakdowns because of feeling that Lucky Cyan's actions have like cursed them, even though it's the bad luck that Luo has, because he has bad luck while she has good luck, and because she's not there to balance him out, all his bad luck is now affecting them. So it's like it's literally the dean's fault, if anyone's, for keeping Luo there, even though like I guess he lied to the hero organizations when they went looking, if they even went looking. We don't even know if they did that at this point. But if they did, then they lied and like said that he wasn't there, was like dead or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's just I don't know if they lied to the other people who were there, like the other people working at the orphanage, but it's like it's just so fucked, and that's what caused all the fear. And so it's just it just kind of started spreading after that because of like other people like learning about her past and everything, or like the portion of her past. And then it just kept spreading, and people, the fear was literally manifesting as this physical presence around people that turned them into zombie-like creatures, which is, by the way, a phenomenal like visual representation of fear. Like if you're going to have like a literal visual representation of fear that like is in universe that people can see and represents like people literally being consumed by it, turning them into like these literal zombie like creatures is a perfect choice for that. Because we haven't actually really seen fear take hold. Like the closest I think we got was God Eye. But he didn't really become like that. He just like became a villain. It was a lot more simplistic. This is our first time really seeing what fear can do. And that's really interesting. Because again, this is something we had heard about, something we knew about already, but had never actually witnessed. And now that adds even more I can't speak. Adds even more depth and layers to everything that we had seen before. And it really is going to make you interested to see like where all of these stories are going to go, where all of this is going to end up, how all the stories are going to reconverge. It's very, very fascinating. I also think that this was like a really good arc to end off on for now, because of how invested in it I became. Like, I think it's like good to like take a break while I'm on a high note, you know? I don't want to leave the series off at a low point. Leaving it off on a high note just actually will get me more and more excited for when I do bring this back, when we do continue this in the future. Because like I said, we're taking a break. We're not dropping it. Oh, excuse me. We're just going to take a short break from it because I want to make sure I can get to Turkey Time to Strike. And this is the kind of show that I think will benefit from taking a short break from. It'll benefit from like having that extra time to build up more anticipation. It will not be a long break, I can tell you that ahead of time, because I don't want to wait that long. But we're gonna give it a little bit of time, come back to it, and see where it goes from there. I'm very excited. I'm enjoying this a lot. This was a very, very strong arc, and I just love the kinds of ideas they're starting to implant, the different specifics. And obviously, like, I didn't like specifically talk in depth about like her and Luo's relationship, and or I didn't bring up again how I thought Luo was definitely going to die in the end there after like coming to his senses, because I have trust issues thanks to what happened with Moon. But all of those things I think are pretty just self-explanatory. If there is anything else you really want to hear my thoughts on, if like there was something like even in the reaction I didn't like touch on enough and you want to know more of my thoughts, please feel free to ask in the comments below. And one last thing before we finish this up, just as a reminder, do not spoil me, please. Like I said in the reaction, there was someone who in a comment, I think on the last video, mentioned who the guy in the opening is, the guy with the like glasses and slicked back hair or whatever. I haven't seen the comment, and I'm probably not going to. I'll probably leave it on the video instead of deleting it, but I'm not going to check it out because I was told that it does spoil like who he is. And again, I don't want to know. I consider that a spoiler. I want to go into this series and other shows I watch as blind as possible. I don't want to know anything about that kind of stuff ahead of time. If it hasn't explicitly stated in the series, and I mean in the series, not in like a press release, not in a trailer, or like even just readily available information about the series. If it hasn't directly stated it within the episodes themselves, I don't want to know about it ahead of time. There are some shows that I've gotten spoiled on, unfortunately, because some of the fans are, you know, terrible with that. But I would rather go into shows and episodes as blind as possible. So just remember that for the future. Please do not spoil in the comments. Please don't spoil. I don't want to know things ahead of time. I want to, like, experience them naturally. I assume that the guy in the opening is probably just another hero. Just like everyone in the opening seems to be. Do not tell me anything about him. Like, if you already know, if future episodes have said something. Because I know there's like 14, 15, something like that, episodes currently out. Do not tell me anything. Just don't, please. Keep the spoilers away. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.